Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Experience the world's most legendary racing events with iRacing. iRacing special events allow any member to compete in full-length multiplayer races based on some of the biggest events in motorsports all year round. Compete in virtual endurance races, such as the Daytona 24, Spa 24, and the Nürburgring 24 Hours. Take on some of the toughest races on the NASCAR schedule, such as the Daytona 500. We have events from disciplines all across the racing world, from the Indianapolis 500 to the Chili Bowl, from the Bathurst 1000 to the Crandon Championship. Our endurance special events utilize iRacing's team feature, where members can sign up and race together on their own team, swapping drivers throughout the race. Other events utilize iRacing Super Sessions, where you're not only racing against those on track, but against every driver taking part. And as every race progresses, watch and feel the track change with progressive time of day, dynamic weather and rain, and dynamic track debris and surface changes. Take on your favorite discipline or try a brand new racing challenge with our biggest races of the year, the iRacing Special Events. Learn more at iracing.com/special-events.
Welcome one, welcome all once again to SimSpeed TV. What a week it is. We are back sprint car racing at I-55. This is round 10 of the ASRG Sprintcar Pro Invitational series. It is the Lucid Graphix High Banks Hustle from I-55. This track in Peverly, Missouri is certainly one that brings some very intense action every time we come here. As the event name says, super high banks, and that means we can carry a lot of speed through these tight turns. Bringing it to you live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Kick. It's me, Reese Gardner, with Scott Rankin alongside me in the comms box. Jay Kennedy is behind the scenes, pressing all the buttons, bringing you these live pictures. I'm so glad to be back at I-55, Scott. This has had some of the best racing I've ever seen in the past.
Yeah, but it's also, again, you talk about that banking, it is high banking. That means it's also a challenge to make sure that you're carrying the speed and carrying it correctly. The track and the banking actually change across the course of the night. We've been seeing that all season long. You really see down the bottom, the track will actually lower as you burn some of that dirt off, move it up towards the wall. And all of a sudden, you build yourself sort of this gradient up towards the wall. Matches somewhat similar to what you see from the cushion. But at this juncture of the season, at the end of tonight, we'll be 2/3 of the way through the season. We will know who our title contenders are. We sort of already have a pretty good idea, but we're starting to zero in who's actually going to be able to lock this one away. This is the most laps we'll do in a feature here this season, and this battle right here, this is critical. There is only 62 points in it from first to fourth. Then it's a bit of a gap, but that first four, I think our champion's going to come from there.
Yeah, looks like it. It's 1, 2, 3 for Tanner Pettit Racing at the front of the driver's standings there, with Aiden Forster and Tanner Pettit, the Americans, on top. Clayton Davies a close third. And then Tim Ryan, as you said, 62 points behind the lead. Harry Stewart has had some pretty good runs in the middle part of the season, but still needs to get some consistent wins going if he wants to challenge for that championship and get free of the likes of Matthew Gowans, Kelly Carman, and Zach Rattray White, Hutchison, and Walker. Rounding out your championship top 10. So for the moment, that's how things stand coming into this round. Let's have a think about this circuit itself. Only 540 meters long. It's just about a third of a mile in length. Bradley Oldfield has the form coming into this one. He won the A main in 2025, which went for 51 laps, and we had 6 cautions over the course of that. I would expect the numbers tonight to maybe rack up the same level of incidents and cautions, considering how much of a tight affair this track is. You got walls down low, walls up high, and as I said, super high speed through those corners.
Yeah, it's a big old challenge, isn't it? And like you said, holding onto that groove. 51 laps last year. We'll knock 1 lap off that lap count this year. We had 6 cautions across that duration. So again, it's one of these narrower tracks, and the grooves and the lines, they really cross each other over. The tricky part is just trying to make sure that you put a clean race together. When you get high banking like this, the slide jobs, they're mega because you've got a lot more grip towards the top end of the track to catch that car. That's sort of what you're looking for, is as you slide up, you want some banking to give you a little bit of assistance to help that drive off, helps you complete the pass. But alternatively, you got to the corner quite high on the entry. You can swivel the car, pivot it straight back down. Then you have a run down the hill. These cars like a good old, any car really likes a run down the hill. Much easier, a lot more speed that you can carry off. So play and counterplay, and that's the big ticket that we'll be looking for here tonight.
Yeah, indeed we will. It's not just Bradley Oldfield that has past form here. Tim Ryan and Harry Stewart taking the other feature victories over the years, Stewart being the first of them back in 2022. Tim Ryan is obviously looking to keep himself in that top 4 fight in the championship, and with the form that he's had in previous years at this place, he is certainly going to be one to look out for. With so many drivers we're looking to look out for here today. We have a new entry from Dropper Gear Motorsport, Rylan Dixon in the number 62, making his series debut tonight. So that'll be interesting to see where he slots himself in the field. Speaking of, we've got 4 heats again tonight, the top 5 from each advancing to the A main, then the C main and B main of 12 and 15 laps respectively. First and second in the heats go for the redraw in the warm-up between the B main and the A main. So we'll be deciding places 5 through 8 and then places 1 through 4 in the top 10, thanks to our friend the spinny wheel. A main of 50 laps in length. The pits are open until the end of lap 15, and that, I think, is a holdover from the 30-lap A mains that we've had. The number for pits staying open staying exactly the same. So it doesn't look like there's going to be much wiggle room for drivers with damage in the opening stages of the A main tonight, Scott. Yeah,
but that also says there's an opportunity for us to get green and get out there and really have a go at things as well. But yeah, 10-lap heats as well, a little bit longer in terms of the heat distance, but we're going to be firing around this racetrack exceptionally quickly. Only the 4 heats operating here tonight as well. The big thing is few drivers are actually out in terms of there's the extensive sort of drivers list that's actually away this week, and that's probably the big thing. But look, this is the thing I've had so much fun with this season, and even Jay Kennedy, even though he's on the, he's a fair way in behind us at the moment, starting to come back towards us a little bit, but he's got his own family battle going on. Him and his son are actually having a go at the point scores here. But mate, you have gone for a scatter selection this week, and I've tried to use science, data, and my best genuine advantage to do it. And well, we'll see if scatter pick or data is the way to go.
Yeah, the last couple of rounds, I've put a bit more thought into my selections, and it hasn't exactly worked out for me, getting maximum points. So I've decided to go back to my strat of just picking random drivers that I did from the start of the season, and it worked out well for me then. So we'll see if I can get some of that form back. I'm still leading the SimSpeed standings for SpeedwayDraft.com. Before every round, you can play for free on SpeedwayDraft.com, selecting your 5 favorite drivers. Still open for 5 more minutes. So if you've got some ideas as to who's going to be successful today, get on to SpeedwayDraft.com, register. It's free, quick and easy, and you can get your choices in. But, well, that's where we stand for the moment, as we're now in the middle of the practice and hot laps presented by NBS 3D Printed RC and Slot Car Customs, and we get our eye into what the optimal line is like when the track is clean. We're getting rolled in at the moment with the groove and such. Drivers not getting too far up into the wall, but there's some that are pushing the limits apparently.
Well, I just saw somebody completely go up and over down the back straightaway, so that was a big old moment. Not 100% sure who it was. Actually, it was Henry Fenson that went up and over, so a wild old ride. Mate,
Yeah.
that was a huge moment for Henry Fenson. Like, I'm glad he's okay, but look, to go from the back to the front last time out, hard charger, and then to go for a wild ride like that through practice, again, that might be just timing though for Henry Fenson. Get all these his big moments out in practice, might lead him to another strong feature.
Yeah, Henry Fenson has joined the 10K value drivers on Speedway Draft, so he's got some good form here in the latter part of the season. And as you mentioned, the hard charger, thanks to my race mats, last time out. So those are your results then. Riley Hutchison, the fastest of them, under 10 seconds, the fastest lap times at the front of the field. We'll see if it works out that way in qualifying presented by Sim Wrap Market. Though we are currently in the session at the moment, drivers have 4 minutes to set 2 laps. The fastest of those decides where in the field they are and where they'll ultimately start in their heat. So for the moment, seeing Lachlan Rogers up on top, just touching that magic 10-second flat time. But we have more times coming in now. Rylan Dixon, series debutant, up into second with Oscar Ames and Darcy Walker putting in faster times ahead of them. We are into the 9s now, and the tension is just going to rise. Ames, it looks like, using that low line a little bit, but I think the middle to sort of mid-high is where you want to be, just up above that slick.
Yeah, build up some momentum, point it straight, and then try and not slide the right rear too much. It's about making sure that you build that momentum. Have a look at the slick already building up in the middle end of that racetrack as well. It's not easy to get it to do.
Keeping an eye on Hayden Vickers now in the number 58. Nice and smooth runs here. Vickers, I believe, is one of the drivers I chose on Speedway Draft, so I'm certainly hoping for a good run from him here. First lap, 10.1. That puts him a little bit further down, but he'll get to a 10.0, and that puts him ahead of Paul Ward and Nick Mithen, still in P12. Kobe Noonan running a time good enough for P5, as Nathan Norman has just gone faster than him, up to 4th. Zach Rattray White, some excellent form from him previously. 9.9 second lap, and it looks like he might have hit the wall on that one, so it's not going to ultimately count. Wasn't an improvement in any case. Rattray White put down to 5th now as Ayrton Smith goes P3, and Tanner Pettit has taken the fastest time.
Yeah, so moving up towards the top end of things, but here comes the number 20's opportunity to try and stitch this lap all together. All the way up towards the top of the banking. Have a look at the right rear sliding all around. Tanner Pettit has pole position. Kelly Carmen's going to slot in there in a P2. Forster, what can he find on lap number 2? Is it going to be quicker? Looks like it's not. And with a minute left on the clock, Tanner Pettit's grabbed the pole, but here comes a man who would love to stomp his number 98 all over pole position. Quick time, Tim Ryan.
Lovely stuff. Tim Ryan always coming out at the very end of the session to set his times, and well, that's a 9.823 on that lap. Still, the 9.816 he ran before that, good enough for overall P1. Nathan Vanderwacker putting himself into the top 10 with that one, and Ethan Foley, who's pretty good at these short tracks from what we've seen, a 9.8 on that initial lap. Well, actually, that's his second lap. Puts him P4. Excellent job. So that looks like he's managed to grab pole position for the 4th heat out of that one. Those are your qualifying standings then. Tim Ryan, 15 thousandths ahead of Tanner Pettit, Kelly Carmen, Ethan Foley, and Aiden Forster, your top 5. Some good performances as well from Paul Bryan and Ayrton Smith. They are looking very good here.
Yeah, that they are. Vanderwacker clambers in there down in P8 for car 88. Is that a little bit of lucky coming their way? Darcy Walker and Zach Rattray White. Just hearing as well from Brady Baldwin, series admin, there was a couple of drivers that were expected to not qualify. They'll be sent to the rear of their heat.
Yeah, that they will. So end-of-line penalties being applied from the last round. It's time to get into our heats presented by Mono Creative. It's Tim Ryan on pole position for Heat 1. He's got Aiden Forster alongside him. And then it's Darcy Walker, who's managed to put himself P3 alongside Gavin Chatham, who is back again this week, joining his fellow Americans. Kobe Noonan starts P5, with Nash Granger rounding out your top 6. Then it's Lachlan Mead and Paul Ward on row number 4. The field for Heat 1 rounded out by Dan Grimshaw and Rusty O'Neill.
Yeah, this will be a big one. Great opportunity for some of these guys to fire off. But how good is it seeing Aiden Forster and Tim Ryan go toe-to-toe in a heat? That is P1 and P2 in Heat 1. This is going to be a mega, mega heat, mate. And then alternatively, Rusty O'Neill's got to come from the rear. So some work to do. Rusty's been quick the last couple of weeks as well. So speed's coming to that number 11. He just needs to get a little bit lucky in terms of the feature because he's putting himself in some pretty good positions. He just needs to finish it off now.
Yes, and we're getting up to the meaty end of the championship. Only going to have 5 rounds to go after this one. So now is the time we need to start getting those consistent results all through the session. Remember, this being dirt racing, it's not just your finishing result in the feature that counts. Every session gives out points. Qualifying, the heats, the C main, the B main, they will all count. So do your best at every opportunity and those points will come to you. They're rolling away now on their 2 pace laps. And it's looking like the track's been worn in quite nicely from the hot laps and qualifying. Still a very thin strip of usable clay up above that slick that comes through the turns, but it's looking like the bottom might start to be usable after a few laps.
Yeah, once that speed starts to go away, because the big thing is, have a look at the difference in size between the bottom and the big thing about shorter ovals like this is massive size difference at both ends. Pace car's going to be left to go all the way down and get its way into pit lane, which you'll see it do itself off of turn 4. Here we go. First of only 4 heats tonight, but this one's keen to get it right because this is, yet again, the 2026 Sprintcar Pro Invitational.
Tim Ryan with a fantastic start to round out the first heat. Oh, already in the wall, Aiden Forster, contact with Darcy Walker, and that was a massive hit. I think netcode may have played a small part in that. And Walker now under pressure from Chatham and Noonan. Noonan slipping down the order, though. Down behind Nash Granger for a few moments. Now they're side by side. A chaotic start to this heat. And Aiden Forster already out of the running. And that's going to be another one. We've seen Darcy Walker get a black flag for his troubles. And, wow, that's big drama there back there. Lachlan Mead, Nash Granger, and Paul Ward all involved.
Yeah, Rusty O'Neill's going to cut his way through. He's going to get back up to P5. There was another car that was involved in that one. I think it was Kobe Noonan. So there's 2 cars, black flag. Walker and Noonan will not qualify out of this seat. That means we're actually racing for effectively P6. So Gadavan Chatham moves into just about the confirmed opportunity to qualify his way out. Dan Grimshaw's in the other slot. Rusty O'Neill's got a little bit of daylight in behind him. But here comes number 16 of Lachlan Mead.
Yeah, it's looking like an interesting battle for P6 as Chatham is chasing down Walker to try and get into second place on the road. 3 laps to go for our leader, Tim Ryan, as he's just trying to make his way around the lap traffic. Lap traffic is going to be a big factor tonight just because of how short and fast this track is. Fortunately, it's reasonably wide, so there's plenty of room for it. But white flag is out. Chatham's getting closer to Walker. Lachlan Mead and Rusty O'Neill are still fighting over P6. It doesn't look like there's much movement between the 2 of them. The checkered flag is out, and Tim Ryan is going to duly take victory in the first heat. Chatham and Walker crossing the line side by side. Noonan and Grimshaw round out your top 5 on track with Mead and O'Neill in 6th and 7th. And we'll wait a few moments for those results to be changed as a result of the black flags being applied. Shouldn't take too long. And that will confirm that Tim Ryan, Gavin Chatham, Dan Grimshaw, and Lachlan Mead are your top 4 that transfer straight through to the A main. Ryan and Chatham will be in for the redraw with Paul Ward a lap down, Rusty O'Neill finishing in the top 5, Granger, Walker, Noonan, and Forster the rest of your field. A real shame for Aiden. That is not the start to the night he wanted.
Yeah, no, and the thing I did notice from Lachlan Mead as well, there was a big slide job thrown for that last spot into the feature. Here we go. Heat number 2, Tanner Paddock's going to set it on the pole from Paul Bryan. Zach Rattray White out of P3. Craig Darn had a great qualifying effort last time out. Used that to leverage his way straight into the feature. We'll see if he can back it up this week. Matthew Gowans and Clayton Davies to round out the 6. We'll head to the last couple of rows here from heat number 2. We'll have Rylan Dixon, Nick Mithen, John Schultz, and Brady Baldwin. And as well, don't forget, I believe it's actually 5 from each heat that'll actually be transferring out of this one tonight as well.
Ah, yes, true. My apologies. Yes.
I only just realised that just then as I was reading through the grid. So you're not the only one that got caught out by it with the 4 heats tonight.
Yeah, indeed. That means that Rusty O'Neill's going to be transferring straight through to the feature from Heat 1. So this is the OG Gear replay of that netcode contact between Darcy Walker and Aiden Forster. And, I mean, clearly you could see there was a country mile of distance between those cars. Just a real shame. Consequence of how distance and the speed of light works.
Yeah, and just running high up, and the tricky part is, like, dirt's probably a little bit more aggressive, the high speed, but also high yaw on the cars as well, and it's that yaw and the bouncing over objects that, particularly with a changeable track surface, that's so difficult for the sim to track. It's challenging. The model, for everyone watching at home, when we say netcode, it's a prediction coding model, and that requires there to be some sort of uniformity in the application of throttle, steering wheel, and those sorts of things. This style of racing is so much more challenging to get that in, so you do see it a little bit more in sprint cars.
That you do. Well, let's hope that our leaders avoid it this time. Heat 2 is away, and it's a great start from Tanner Pettit, already getting a gap over the rest of the field, but 3 wide contact, and that's going to be Zach Rattray White and Clayton Davies sent to the back. Nick Mithen also involved, so that's another few of our heavy hitters in this field not having a great run out of the heat. Now it's on between newcomer Rylan Dixon and Craig Dunn in the number 57. They're fighting for 4th and 5th, but still both in the transfer spots. They're going to have to keep an eye out for John Schultz, who's rapidly making up ground.
Yeah, and Tanner Pettit's managed to just grab that and lead it away. And this just says to me, all of a sudden, Matthew Gowan's got up and he got into the wall. So that's all of a sudden starting to become a tricky little prospect. Paul Bryant just sent a massive slider, trying to take the momentum away from the number 8. Wasn't quite able to get the job done. But Matthew Gowans, you're on notice, my friend. One more mistake like that, and you'll be swallowed up by the 42.
Yeah, this is going to be difficult. Still side by side between Rylan Dixon and Craig Dunn there, as the 44 of Nick Mithen is just trying to stay out of the way there. He's now been lapped thanks to his part in that incident. And, well, race control haven't really decided on any fault necessarily to apply for the incident at the start of this heat. We'll have to wait and see on that, but still super close between these guys. And really shows how I-55 races. You know, the high line is where you want to be in these early stages, but how long is it going to take for drivers to start getting back down to the bottom? It just seems like every time they come to the bottom, there is less grip down there. But Tanner Pettit, what a drive. Just started from the lead and didn't look back.
No, completely and utterly had control of that one. Now we're starting to see a few drivers test out the bottom at the tail end of that heat. He is going to come to the flag and take that one away. Everybody else is going to fire in quick far behind. Pettit from Gowans, Paul Bryan, Craig Dunn will get a transfer. Rylan Dixon on debut for car number 62 will get the job done for Dropper Gear Motorsports as well.
Yeah, lovely stuff from Rylan Dixon. John Schultz missing out on the transfer into the feature, as did Clayton Davies, Nick Mithen, and Zach Rattray White. Brady Baldwin serving in race control, I believe, for this one. So he did not take to the start. But Davies and Rattray White in particular, the names that really jump out to me from heat number 2. They'll be ones to watch in the C and B mains. But we've still got 2 more heats to decide before that comes around. Heat number 3 has Kelly Carman starting on pole with Ayrton Smith alongside Aston Hurley and Riley Hutchison. Row 2 with Brock Thompson and Casey Hamilton rounding out your top 6. Lachlan Rogers has Gary Redcliffe for company on row number 4 with Daniel Boyd and Jacob Freeman rounding out the 10 cars to take to the start of this one. And this is a field, I think, that is comprised almost entirely of drivers that we wouldn't really pick out as regular winners in this championship. So the competition's going to be mighty close.
Yeah, that it is. Rolling away for heat number 3. By the way, only one more heat to come. It's already been some haymakers. The big thing, Reese, have a think about our C main tonight. Think of the hitters that are going into that one. Clayton Davies and Aiden Forster going through a C main together, and Rattray White. There's only 4 spots that move on. Mate, they've got to be on their best behaviour and cutting their way through, but they're all quick drivers. That's going to be a big one. I can't recall a C-main like that in a long time. Still 2 heats to come.
Yep, first of which is underway now, and Kelly Carmen got a little bogged down off the start there, but he still manages to stay in the lead by a ways of some sort. The battle for second is really on, though, already. Hurley, Hamilton, Hutchison, and Smith, they're all fighting over these last 5 transfer spots. They need to keep an eye out for Lachlan Rogers in car 02. He is rapidly making some gains. He's running the low line, and a few of these drivers are working with that low line, and it seems to be benefiting them, at least on the way into the corners.
Well, actually, Riley Hutchison, it's going to actually be Casey Hamilton to move to the top line. And, well, Riley Hutchison just passed him on the bottom. He stuck it down there. He committed to what he was doing. Now he's got the job done. Here it comes. They're actually forced to move around. Carmen's forced to go to the bottom. Now it's going to be Aston Hurley who's stuck up the top. It's the crossover period. This is what everyone comes to see sprint cars for. Cars looking for the best piece of real estate that they can find. Right rear, we're losing cars. You mentioned it. Smith is going towards the back. Daniel Boyd's managed to pick up a spot. This is tight here, Reese.
Certainly is. Carmen and Hutchison for the Trout Racing team. They are working very nicely down there, working together on the low line. Casey Hamilton's there with them too, but we still see Aston Hurley trying to make the top line work. There's really no room for him to slot in right now.
No, and immediately crossing back over for Hutchison. He just covered the top line. I think that was smart for the pair of those guys. The bad side about that, though, is he's opened the door to the bottom. Here comes Hurley once more. We'll get the white flag next time by the stripe. Lap car, Gary Radcliffe is doing all he can to stay away from the leaders. Switch of the line once more for Hutchison. Now there's going to be a duke out on for the race lead. This is only heat number 3 of the night. Is their drive? Hurley can't find it. And it's going to be Hutchison who nicks it back. But Carmen takes a pole to a win.
Lovely stuff from Kelly Carmen. Riley Hutchison, Aston Hurley, Casey Hamilton, and Lachlan Rogers will round out your top 5 to transfer. Ayrton Smith losing that position from Rogers again on the final lap. He'll be ruining that spin that he had. We didn't quite catch it live, but Ayrton Smith only finishing 6th. And in a race he was almost guaranteed to finish in the top 5, and it's going to be a lot of work for him to do there. Heat 3 run and dusted. We'll see Smith, Thompson, Boyd, Freeman, and Redcliffe again very soon. Now we're seeing, for the first time tonight, Ethan Foley starting from pole position with Nathan van der Wacker alongside him. Baxter Truchet has Nathan Norman alongside on row 2, with Matthew Stables and Oscar Ames rounding out your top 6. Hayden Vickers has James Oliver for company on row 4, and Henry Fenson and David Baker are the rest of your field. It didn't go too well for Fenson and Baker. They're 2 of the drivers that didn't set times in qualifying, potentially due to overstanding end-of-line penalties from the previous round, so no real tell on their pace as of yet.
Yeah, it'd be an interesting one. David Baker actually mic'd up and just said, hey, I just want to start this one from the rear end. I'm having just a couple of issues with netcode at the moment, and that is about the most respectful thing you can do to your opposition. It says, I want to be out here, I want to be circulating, I want to have an opportunity to go racing, but I just want to monitor this first. I'm not confident in it, and that's sportsmanship at its finest. I don't want to take away from the racing action, but I still want to be out there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good to see the respect afforded there. Well, we're about to get the green flag for this final heat of the night, and well, Matthew Stables is going to be under a lot of pressure there, but I'm more interested to see what van der Wacker can do here, starting from second as Ethan Foley gets a bit sideways off the run to the line, and the high line's working pretty well for Wacker, but as we've seen, the low line is coming into its own, and we're starting to see a lot of drivers go down there.
But the thing is, I saw drivers in every lane, and each of them had a strong phase of the corner. It wasn't as if you saw there was just one lane that just immediately went backwards. Nobody's moved. Oh, no, huge moment for Matthew Stables up and into the barrier. His heat is basically going to be done. I think the car's still drivable, but it certainly took a big old whack of things in the middle. Henry Fenson, we said he had a moment out there in a practice session. He slipped back outside of the top 5. He'd get to transfer at this point in time. James Oliver's holding down that spot. He's looking to hunt down and try and get the move done. I believe on Nathan Norman he's duking it out with.
Indeed. battling for 4th and 5th, and Oliver, really sideways out of turn 2. But he looks pretty comfortable down on the low line. If he sticks down there, he should find some pace towards the end. 4.5 laps remain, and our leaders are still neck and neck. Van der Wacker taking the lead off Ethan Foley a couple of laps ago, but the both of them seem to be sticking to the high line. Neither of them's going down low. They've come together into the wall for Van der Wacker. And Ethan Foley's going to continue on, but that is going to be heat done for another of our heavy-hitting drivers who will need to work his way through the alphabet. That moves Oliver and Fenson up into the top 5 as Fenson just dispatched Hayden Vickers. You see them racing side by side just behind. That's going to be tight.
Mate, we are going to have the most jumbled up way through the alphabet, and it's actually from a mistake all of Wacker's own up into the barriers. He's been driving so well the last couple of rounds, and tonight here at I-55 is where it comes unstuck. White flags in the air. It's Foley from Juche who's going to get a job done in the heat. And then it's going to be Norman, James Oliver, and Henry Fenson manages to lock it in. Fenson gets a little bit lucky with the moment from Wacker, but Wacker was pushing hard, taking risks, and got bitten by I-55.
That he did. 2 seconds in the lead in the end for Ethan Foley ahead of Truchet, Norman, Oliver, and Fenson. Vickers, Ames, Stables, Baker, and Van der Wacker will need to do a couple more races at least today if they want to get into that feature by the very end. So, the Mono Creative Heat's done and dusted. Some big dramas from the opening stages of the night. But now it's time for the C-Main presented by Wimmera Dry Cleaners. It's Daniel Boyd and Matthew Stables who are your front row, with Kobe Noonan and Zach Rattray-White 3rd and 4th. Jacob Freeman and David Baker 5th and 6th, ahead of Aiden Forster, who's starting P7. Baldwin won't be taking to the start, so that will leave Redcliffe and Van der Wacker to take up the final 2 spots. A 9-car C-Main, with Forster starting from 7th, and Matthew Stables with a lot of opportunity here to keep himself in the fight for getting into the feature. Remember, if you finish in the top 4 in this race, you'll get through to the B main, but it doesn't guarantee a feature spot.
No, and that's the tricky part tonight. And the thing is, when we look at drivers that are in the C main, let's walk you through the big hitters. And the problem for the Vortex outfit is as well, have a look at the number of their drivers that are actually in this heat. Daniel Boyd, Kobe Noonan, Nathan Van der Wacker are all in this one. It's only Lachlan Mead that's actually managed to jump up and out of this one for the Vortex team here tonight. But the big thing is, have a look at the names. Rattray-White, Forster, Van der Wacker. There's 3. None of those 3 are going to be starting in any higher than the B main tonight. My word. And only four can make their way out of this heat. That means that should there be a mistake or a calamity that happens to one of those 3, well, their night's done. That's it. No big points on the board. And I didn't expect that at the top of the night.
No, I didn't expect it either. I mean, honestly, I don't really know what I expect coming into any round of this, because it's always super exciting. There's always some kind of, oh my goodness, drama. But yeah, this has turned out to be quite the attrition rate among our fastest drivers here today. Well, green flag flies, and this is a bit of a confusing start. No one really went until the green flag flew, so Rattray-White was trying to get going. Fortunately, they all get through it cleanly, and Rattray-White moves into 3rd. Stables and Boyd battling over the top 2. Stables working the high line, Boyd a bit further down low, and we see Aiden Forster having trouble keeping the momentum up down low.
Yeah, Van der Wacker's been passed. It's actually going to be Forster who managed to make the momentum on the bottom, but it's that middle to high bottom lane, second half of turn 2 that's really been finding the speed.
That's Van der Wacker!
Van der Wacker, his night is over!
What happened there? I have no idea. We will need a replay of that one, but there's going to be some big racing going on here for our top 3 spots. Daniel Boyd trying to stay in that top 3. He's already been dispatched by Rattray-White. This is what happened to Wacker. Oh, contact with the 85 of Redcliffe and just up into the wall. Not much more he could do. Oh, that's Stables over now. Stables was in the lead.
Well, he's over and done with. Rattray-White's moved his way through, but we watch and we wait, because there'll be 15 laps here. A little bit of an opportunity for race control to have a look and see if there was anything untoward and whether or not there needs to be a penalty applied. In the meantime, Forster is trying to do his best to push his way on through. Rattray-White and Forster are going to be the guys that are leading at this point in time. But is there something coming the way of Zach Rattray White? Slide job, bottom to top. Well, he got in there. It was an aggressive slide job, and he tried to take the momentum away from the car on the top. I'll leave that one to the stewards. Oh, they've already decided it. Black flag, Rattray White's night with that move is done.
And he's decided, I'm not even going to do the rest of the race at this point. Just go straight into the pits and day done. That's going to promote Aiden Forster to the lead. But this is the battle for second between Boyd and Freeman, with Kobe Noonan now rapidly gaining on them, with Freeman getting into the wall every so often, cuts back underneath Daniel Boyd to reclaim the position. Remember, they're just fighting for the chance to start at the rear of the B main grid. So I don't think they need to worry too much about specifically what positions they end up in, but Noonan is looking very racy.
Yeah, Noonan's trying to pick up a couple more spots, see if he can just start a couple of spots further up. A couple words on Daniel Boyd as well. He's one of the quietest blokes you'll be around. I've had an opportunity to do a fair bit of NASCAR racing with him of late, and you just about don't hear him. He just barely ever says anything, just gets out there, gets amongst it, and goes about his job in the quietest possible manner. That doesn't mean he's willing to give up spots. No, he will race you, and I think it's actually going to be Jacob Freeman that's been experiencing a little bit of this here in this one. It's going to be the number 20 machine coming off of turn 4, will take the checkered flag, and it's going to be Daniel Boyd home ahead of Kobe Noonan. Jacob Freeman, I think he didn't want to take the final spot away from the feature. I think he's actually booted himself out of the sim before he could, and I think that one's been headed over to Gary Redcliffe.
Yeah, looks like it. Now that the results are official, it's Aiden Forster, Daniel Boyd, Kobe Noonan, and indeed Gary Redcliffe, who are your top 4. David Baker finishes P5. He'll be the first of the drivers we say goodbye to. With Jacob Freeman, yeah, they're the very, very bizarre end to the race there for the number 18, ahead of Rattray White, Stables, and Vander Wacker. So, goodness me, Rattray White, Stables, and Vander Wacker, those are 3 names that I really expected to be a shoo-in for the feature grid tonight. But, well, everyone has an off week, and I suppose they may have been due one. We'll move through into the B main now, presented by McSlide Race. It's Paul Ward who starts on pole alongside John Schultz, with Ayrton Smith and Hayden Vickers behind. Granger and Davies are your third row. With Brock Thompson starting 7th. He's got Oscar Ames for company. Then it's Darcy Walker and Nick Mithen rounding out your top 10. Then it's our final 4 from the C main: Forster, Boyd, Noonan, and Redcliffe, making it 14 cars to take to the start here. And huge work for Aiden Forster to do here. Not only that, but Clayton Davies too, starting out at P6. Remember, if Tanner Pettit Racing wants to be a presence here in the feature, they need to get both of those guys in the top 4. Otherwise, it'll just be Pettit himself.
So, yep, just getting some gridding stuff set up and rolling here as well. Worthwhile pointing out, I said, look, there might be one of those 3 that we mentioned from the C main that doesn't make it through. With the penalty to Rattray White, two drivers out of that big 3 that were in that C main. It was absolutely stacked, and only one of them survived. Now the big problem is, like you said, Clayton Davies to come from P6, Forster from P11. Here we go.
Paul Ward puts the power down, and the B main from I-55 is go. Smith working the bottom, but it looks like the middle is where you want to be. Have a look at that from John Schultz. He is making this 3 wide for the lead, but loses momentum on the way out. Hayden Vickers scything through into 2nd place, and seeing Clayton Davies doing the same thing. The teammates of Oscar Ames and Brock Thompson, they're just trying their best now to keep people behind.
Oh.
Paul Ward is up and over. He is still rolling, but the car doesn't look good. So that's unfortunate for our pole sitter, as Hayden Vickers has gotten a penalty for that.
Oh, Forster's done! Forster's done!
Oh no! Hayden Forster.
No, he's okay.
Oh, that was a bit of a scary moment there. Forster is still battling in about P10 or so. He's trying to find his way past the drivers of John Schultz and Nash Granger. There's the contact there. Aiden Forster with some pretty big contact there. Again, netcode playing its part.
Yeah, very, very lucky. Now he's trying to find his way through the middle 3 wide. That was bravery. Elects to back out of it. You got to survive this one. 20 laps to cut your way through. You don't have to make the move right there. And I think the 78, Schultz tried to chop his nose back off as he turned right back through. Forster was there, though. Forster was there. But I think that's the way that race control will look at and rule on it. He's all the way through to 6. Now he's got an opportunity to go around the outside of Oscar Amos, and that just might get him P5.
Might just. Remember, he needs to finish 4th if he wants to get into this feature.
P5.
Yep, Davey. Oh, yes, indeed. Got to remember that. Vickers is going to be demoted a position, so as long as you're finishing 5th on the road, you'll be fine. Davey's still leading the way. Smith will get 2nd place from this one if he stays there, but this fighting further on back is crazy. John Schultz is the 79 of Daniel Boyd, my apologies, is trying his best to find his way around Nash Granger and Darcy Walker. I think they're just costing themselves time to the top 6 at this point. Vickers, meanwhile, has been shuffled out of the top 5, and some further contact between himself and Oscar Ames. Vickers is not having a great run of things here.
No, Clayton Davies has gone to the lead now, as well as he's driven all the way up to and past Anton Smith. So some moving being done tonight by the number 10. Here comes the guys that are still looking to find a little bit of speed past the halfway mark now of our B main, rapidly closing in on 15th spot. Just an update coming the way from the administrators as well. Session reset has been queued up. You can see how torn up I-55 has become as we've gotten our way through the B main. In actuality, it's probably a good thing we didn't have that extra heat here tonight.
Yeah, agreed. The track is really getting torn up, and it's been a while since we've seen a track reset going into the A main. So good to see that. It'll probably be a few laps in the interim to just get the track grooved in. For the moment, Hayden Forster making moves on Ayrton Smith there, the number 20 running the low line nicely, but the slick in the middle line down low is looking pretty brutal right now. Everyone's moved back up to the sort of mid to high line to try and get that grip there. 3 laps to go for Clayton Davies, and he doesn't look like he's under much pressure.
Up nice and cruisy now. There is a lapped car just ahead of him that he does still have to try and navigate. Forster caught all the way up to Ayrton Smith and just forced Ayrton Smith to change lines just a little bit. Not quite able to generate the momentum. But the big thing to note here, Reese, is it went away from the top, it went towards the middle, it went towards the bottom, then the top's gone away completely. Then they moved down, and now the lower sides of the racetrack have gone. So we are going to be moving around this racetrack all night long.
That we are. There's the move on the final lap for Hayden Forster, but he gets caught up behind the lap car, and Ayrton Smith is going to retake 2nd spot at the end. Davies finishing more than a second ahead of anyone here in the B main tonight. So that means that Davies, Smith, Forster, and Thompson will get through to the A main. Oscar Ames, the first of the drivers to miss out from this one, with Nash Granger, Darcy Walker, and Nick Mithen your final finishers. Gary Redcliffe a lap down, and Daniel Boyd, unfortunately, getting sent out 3 laps from the end. And up behind him, more drivers to say goodbye to. We had Hayden Vickers with a black flag, thanks to his part in the incident that took out Paul Ward, and John Schultz and Kobe Noonan weren't able to make it back either. So a shame, but we still have a good roster of drivers to bring us through to the A main here today. A review of the calendar. Well, Lincoln Speedway is going to be the next round of the championship, followed up by Eldora. We'll be going back to a big track on the 19th of August. I'm certainly looking forward to that, but Lernerville is the one that I'm always hyped for every season. It's quite a unique place.
Yeah, big old challenging one to come towards the tail end of the season, but also a mix of 35 and 40 lap races to get us home as well. So some bigger tracks and some smaller tracks. That Eldora track will work its way away. And also, don't forget, Kevin Harvick's Kern Raceway. We haven't done a whole bunch of racing there in years gone by. Here's our big opportunity to get 410 sprint cars out there and tearing, and that's been the change of the format here in 2026. It's just to lock ourselves in to the biggest things with the most horsepower, with the most opportunity to generate speed. I tell you what, last time out at Knoxville didn't create for a phenomenal race as well, but also those moments, you know, just when things look like they're all going well. Clayton Davies looked like he had that one locked up. I was sitting there going, I don't think anyone's going to throw anything at him. and then hardware failure. A wheel just bites. That's racing, mate. That is the same as a spark plug just dying mid-race, and there's nothing you can do when that happens. You've got to tear the engine down, get that plug out of there, replace it with a fresh one. That's car racing, right? Sometimes it's the steering wheel going away from you. Sometimes it's one of those other bits and pieces about the racetrack or the race car, or something you just can't find yourself away from. But we've got a great opportunity actually tomorrow night at the moment. Brady Baldwin, I know you've stepped back and you've stepped into race control duties for us here tonight, but there's an opportunity to send a big shout out to a man that makes a significant impact in this series and in this championship, but hardly ever gets spoken about. And tonight, something's happened to him and his family, and we've said, look, more important that you get home and you spend the time with your family.
Yeah, one of our main admin guys, Liam James, going through some family stuff right now. It's pretty tough to hear about. He texted me this afternoon, so all the best, Liam, if you are watching after the race. Obviously, yeah, it's pretty tough time for him and all of his family, so all the best wishes to him, and hopefully put on a good race tonight.
Yeah, he is hoping indeed. We should have everything set up now to go through the redraw presented by Australian Speedway results, and we'll be deciding positions 5 through 8 first. If you're new to this particular format, the top 2 from each heat, they get the chance to roll the dice, so to speak, and maybe get a better starting position. But it's only second place in each heat that's eligible for positions 5 through 8. So we're going to be bringing in the first of them now. Gavin Chatham is with us here. Best case scenario of P5. It's been the first time in a few rounds that we've actually gotten a track reset for the A main, Gavin. So does that change where you'd ideally like to start?
It's tough to say. The heat races there, it definitely seemed like it was beneficial to start on the top, and if they give us some warm up here, and depends on kind of where the track wears in a little bit. But a couple weeks ago at Knoxville, I thought that the starting on the outside would be the way to go, and I went to the top there and slid right backwards. So we'll just have to see and wait and see what the track does, and if we get some warm up in here, and we'll see what it happens.
In any case, you are going to be starting on the outside. You have drawn P6, so not a bad run of things. No,
it's a good way to start. We qualified pretty decent. I mean, the times were very tight qualifying, and then we got a lot of luck there in the heat race to be in this dash or the redraw position, and hopefully starting up front we could just move forward and maybe get a podium tonight. Would have liked it. Really thought I had a good shot at Knoxville, and ended up decided to screw up on that's my fault. So but we drove up through there, and hopefully we'll do that again tonight, and hopefully we'll get up on the podium. Would be nice.
All right, excellent stuff. Matthew Gowans has already had the position decided for him. It's going to be P7 for you, Matthew.
Oh, okay. I
don't think it's fun yet, Reese. I don't think it's fun yet.
Oh, okay.
Too quick.
All right.
I was going to say P8 now.
well, we'll wait and see. That big yellow part is... it's 7.
How about that? P7.
Well, there you go. All right. Nobody should have said anything.
No, you knew it all along. You knew what was going to happen.
Restradamus.
Yeah. Reese, can you
luck,
get
Matthew.
next week's lottery numbers for me? That'd be great, mate.
I'm tempted to keep them for myself, honestly. Next driver to jump in is going to be Riley Hutchison in the number 2. A good night for you so far, Riley. Some strong performances in the heats there. And with the track reset, things are going to get a little bit more interesting, whether it's better to start from the high or the low side. But it looks like you've just managed to get 8th spot out of that one.
Yeah, that'll be right. 50 laps is a very long time around here, so I'm expecting plenty of cautions, and yeah, this track reset will spice things up, that's for sure.
Oh, certainly will. So that is going to decide P5 in the end. It's going to be Baxter Truchet in car number 34 that starts there. So out of the positions available to you, Baxter, best case scenario?
Yeah, no, for sure. Sort of with this track reset, I was sort of hoping to get on the outside line there, but 7th is worse than 5th, so I'll definitely take it.
Indeed. Going to be 3rd on the inside row. Next up, we're deciding positions 1 through 4. And the first to join us is, of course, Tim Ryan. Winning Heat 1 at a canter and getting the quick time. It's looking like I-55 is smiling on you today, Tim.
I just want the spinny wheel smile on me, Reese. Just, Brady, have you got a copy there, mate?
Yeah, copy.
Yeah, mate, just wanted to check. Did you get my thing about the recommendations next year?
Yeah, well, it's not helping you now because you're forward, mate.
Did I actually?
Yeah.
Yeah, stitch up, mate. Nah. Cheers, fellas. Oh, Brady, I swear to God, you're lucky in Queensland. See you, fellas. Nah, just cry.
Brady, I've got some great advice about the series Nut Your Band.
Yeah. All right, cheers, fellas. It'll be 50 laps is a long way, so I think Brady did the right thing with the resetting the track. So yeah, we'll see how we go.
All right, good luck out there, Tim Ryan. Next, we're going to bring in Tanner Pettit. Well, looks like worst case scenario is not a thing for you, Tanner. You'll be starting in the top 3 regardless of where the wheel lands.
Sweet, that's good to hear.
And it looks like 3rd place is going to be where it's at for you, just a few inches away from 2nd.
Sounds good. Looks like we only got a couple spots to move forward tonight, and see if we get the job done.
Indeed, tough time for your teammates, but you're still flying the flag. Kelly Carmen next to join us, and this is going to decide what the front row is going to look like. Kelly, on a clean track, inside or outside? What's your pick?
Oh, probably outside, yeah. I don't really like bottom feeding around this track. It's just, yeah, I really just like running the top round here. It's way funner.
Well, looks like that's what you're going to do. 2nd place is yours.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Just hopefully I have some luck this round. Haven't had much luck in the last 3-4 rounds, but yeah, luck always changes.
That it does. Well, that's going to confirm our pole position here as being Ethan Foley. And, well, the short tracks have always been a place of profit for you, Ethan. It looks like I-55 is looking to do the same here today.
Yeah, hopefully he does. I guess I'll try to keep my nose clean and try to wing it from there, see if we can keep our speed.
Yes, certainly had great speed in your heat, but that was on a track that had already worn in a little bit. Pace on a clean track is another thing entirely. We'll leave you to it to get prepared and get out there. Congratulations on pole.
Thank you for that.
And that's going to conclude the redraw. Before we get into the feature, a little word about our title sponsor for this round. It is once again Lucid Graphix, the go-to studio for any of your design needs, however demanding or simple. Trusted by professional drivers worldwide, highly competitive rates, and no compromise on quality. Your satisfaction is guaranteed. Get in touch on social media at Lucid Graphix AU. That's graphics with an X, not a CS. Or you can contact Jacob Freeman on Trading Paints for any iRacing inquiries. Huge thanks to Lucid Graphix for sponsoring the High Banks Hustle, round 10 of the ASRG Sprintcar Pro Invitational Series. Looks like drivers are just preparing now to get out there and groove the track in a little. They're apparently seeing how quickly they can get around just by sticking to pit lane and the paddock, which is interesting to see.
There's a little bit of room to work around down there, but yeah, that's what we're looking at in terms of the A main at the moment. Track's going to get itself run in. You can see the field that's left open to the A main immediately getting out there for an opportunity to try and have a go. What they're going to do is try and work the track out about 3/4 of the way up, not all the way out up against the fence, but not all the way down the bottom as well. I want them above halfway up the racetrack as well.
Yeah, so one thing that I did notice in a couple of the heats was when the track was getting grooved in, the middle line was really strong, even though there was a lot of slick in the mid-corner. There does seem to be a tendency with this track in particular to have a few strips of fresher dirt, fresher clay on the exits in the middle. So that's what drivers will likely be aiming for in the race. For now, see how much loam is being thrown up high.
And you just see them all moving around, just again trying to put some wear on this track. There's something unique. So this is basically, for the people that are watching along at home, there's a couple different ways to go about it. There's the iRacing system of where we set a track state and we run with that. What that tends to create is a really mixed up track. It just doesn't feel natural. So what we're better off doing is reset the track state to completely fresh. Then we throw some natural track evolution at it by actually having some cars out there running around. That is far better off in terms of creating a raceable track surface for what we're looking for, with some weaknesses in the grooves that creates better racing. And it just gives us something that's a lot more natural. Like I said, when you throw something at this sim and just the way that it responds with the automated commands and that sort of stuff, yeah, look, you do get a track state that's a 20 or 30%. But what does a percent mean to a dirt track? Really, what tends to happen is you get a slick lane. You don't get that with a track state. You really kind of get a track that's had 20% track worn away off the track surface. It's not quite balanced that way. This way, we actually get some tricky patches in the track that create unique opportunities for overtaking. That's what we're trying to lean into, and that's what the series over an extended period of time has created to be best. They look at their notes each year at the end of the season and go, yep, this is actually the best way. This worked last time out, or we didn't run the track in enough, or we ran it in too much, and they'll tinker with that and work it on year. We get a really nice iterative way of developing the racetrack.
That we do. Here's your starting order then for the A main. Confirming Ethan Foley is your pole sitter alongside Kelly Carmen. Then it's Tanner Pettit and Tim Ryan, two of the championship top four there. The other two in the top four in the championship are starting down in 21st and 23rd, Clayton Davies and Aiden Forster. Truchet and Chatham rounding out your top six. That's going to be a great third row with Gowans, Hutchison, Grimshaw and Bryan rounding out your top 10. Hurley, Norman, Mead, Dunn, Hamilton, Oliver, O'Neill and Dixon rounding out your top 18. Great to see that Rylan Dixon on his series debut has managed not only to have some good pace on that car, but to get into the A main. Starting from the midfield, though, it's going to be hard. Lachlan Rogers and Henry Fenson round out your top 20. Then it's our final four from the B main: Davies, Smith, Forster and Thompson. 24 cars around a track only a third of a mile in length. This is going to be tightly packed.
Yeah, that it is. One of the shortest tracks on the season. That is why the lap count is so high. Now, for the first time tonight, we get to release sort of more than 12 or so race cars to go really hard at it. Double that number, 24. Have a look at Forster deep down in the field. He's got work to do. Anyone else that's deep there in the pack, the thing they need to be thinking is, yes, you've got to cut your way through the field. But at the same time, 50 laps, a long time to get through the front, making sure that you are really consistent, smooth, and picking your opportunities to go forwards, and risk averse. You've got to take risks to move forward, but risk precise is probably the better way to go.
Green flag flies and we are away for the A main at I-55. Great start from Ethan Foley. Kelly Carmen getting ahead of Tanner Pettit, and it looks like the high line's where you want to be early on, as it was in the early stages of the night. So Pettit moves up there. Ryan gets past him. A big moment indeed. James Oliver and Lachlan Mead going around, and it looks like Henry Fenson had a couple of problems at the back there as well. First caution out after only 1.5 laps complete.
Yeah, I'll get back rolling and hopefully run back down into the pit lane. Chatham's up in it, or really, again, we talked about guys with opportunities. This is a big opportunity here tonight for Chatham. This is a huge opportunity for him to sort of run around towards the pointy end of the field, pick up a whole bank worth of points. It was Lachlan Mead and the 91 machine that actually got into each other and went up and over. So that's what going to cause the first incident of the night for James Oliver.
Yeah, that looked a bit messy at the back there. Unfortunate, but we are still within the window where drivers can come in and get some repairs done. First 15 laps of the feature. So, looks like Fenson and Mead both coming in, but not much more to say regarding James Oliver. He's towed back, and looks like he may be staying there for some time to come. Restart is still going to be double file, and it will be Foley leading the way here. But Kelly Carmen, his teammate at Trout Racing, they always love the short tracks, as we've seen, doing quite well at the moment. But they've got Tim Ryan and Tanner Pettit, two of the winningest drivers in Sim Sprint Car Racing, both World of Outlaws Pro Series competitors. Tim Ryan being the champion one year. Here comes Ethan Foley to take to the start again, and we're on to lap 3. Tim Ryan is protecting from Tanner Pettit, but here comes Gavin Chatham and Baxter Truchet, trying their best to work that low line. It's working all right for them, but there's contact there for Truchet, Oh, it's so difficult when you put on the power. So much power in these cars.
Yeah, and at the moment there's so much grip, but that's going to start to run away from these guys. You can already see a little bits and pieces of slick line. The big problem at the moment, so much dust is starting to be kicked up, particularly up and against that fence, but they're starting to wear the track out towards the top side, particularly on the entry to 3 and 4. There's now a little slick lane, and now down over in 1 and 2 as well. Track is starting to come away from these guys. A couple of them have moved down, not to the bottom, but the critical thing is, Reese, they've moved to that middle.
Now, looks like they may have jumped the gun slightly early. It seems like the pace is still very much with the top line. There's the move done for Riley Hutchison, putting Gavin Chatham behind. Chatham cuts back underneath, and we see Paul Bryan get involved in all of that as well. Some shuffling going on a bit further back. The 93 of Casey Hamilton finds himself in P12, but still up 3 spots from where he started. Hardest charger so far is Aiden Forster, who's up 6 spots down in 17th, but I would have expected him to maybe move up a little more by this point. The caution did not help him in that respect.
Well, there's a couple of cars having a bobble down the main straightaway. Number 99's involved with it at the moment. One and up and over into the fence. Car number 2, and I think that was Hutchison, was it, that got into it. And it's gone. No, sorry, my apologies. Lachlan Rogers for the Edge Esports machine. The number 2, damage involved. We are pre-lap 15. Opportunity to come and get the backup car, and he'll take that opportunity.
Indeed, he will. We'll correct ourselves from earlier. It looked like an error in the overlays. It's actually the first 25 laps of the race where you can come into the pits. Rogers, yeah, he got checked up there, and Clayton Davies didn't really have many places to go. There was a whole host of cars behind Lachlan Rogers there. That's
racing though, isn't it? That's the tricky part. He just had nowhere to go. Cars behind, everyone piling in. Backup car taken, goes to the rear field, and an opportunity to go back again. The big thing is, to now it's been tricky to overtake. There's been so much grip. Have a look at that race surface now. There's all of a sudden some darker patches, some shiny patches on that racing surface. I'm not much of a dirt boy, but I am a road going boy. And when I see shine on an asphalt surface, that says to me it's slick. Well, good news, that translates over to dirt. It's exactly the same feeling. You'll actually see some overtaking now and some difference in the lane choices.
Yes, seeing a couple of grooves start to form. The very bottom line and then the middle seems to be demarcated there. Start again. Green flag flies. Ethan Foley and Tanner Pettit, your top 2 for the moment. It looks like Kelly Carman has had some trouble keeping himself behind Forster. Checking out Matthew Gowans up behind Tim Ryan, just avoids getting cleaned up there from the drivers coming up off the bottom of turn 3. And Tim Ryan is starting to cut lower as well, as you can see in that blue number 98. It's working out lovely for him. Look at the run that he's getting. He's going to get around Truchet.
Yeah, he's pinned Truchet to the bottom line, but then he didn't really give him much breathing room. Now we're going to see a slide job be sent for the race lead. Ethan Foley's managed to get up here and steal it away from Tanner Pettit. Pettit threw a big old slide job as they got down to 3 and 4 last time by. Now he's going to check the momentum. That's giving Kelly Carman and the Trout Racing Machine a huge opportunity to steal the place away. And all of a sudden, Tanner Pettit not looking so punchy at the front.
You can see that Pettit is having to check up on the exit of turn 2. Carmen is a real thorn in his side right now and assisting his teammate Ethan Foley and getting away to the lead. It's going to happen again there. There's big contact. Yep, Truchet and Riley Hutchison. They've come together, and that's brought out the caution.
There was more contact again after that came out as well. So, and it's the 11 machine of Rusty O'Neill. The problem being he's basically come to a stop. I think he's going to try and head to pit lane and maybe take a backup car. There's a bunch of them diving in.
Yeah, it looks like there are a few drivers that came up on the caution, and there was some confusion. Dan Grimshaw and Rusty O'Neill made contact after this incident here. Just looked like netcode contact off, I believe, Matthew Gowans that initially sent the car Baxter Truchet around. Again, it just looks like there's some inconsistencies with the netcode here. Keep an eye on this. So Gowans in the blue car underneath, and there's the contact, but clearly still space between the cars.
And there was room for those guys to get through, so they'll be there. The thing is, race control will look at that and go, look, it is what it is. That wouldn't have happened, so we kind of don't want to touch it. Is probably one of the bigger factors. whereby the cars would have definitely made contact, that's when race control will still step in. Because if a car is basically going from bottom to top of the racetrack and look like it's definitely getting to the top lane, then they will definitely step in.
So onboard Dan Grimshaw. Oh, okay. That was right after the caution came out. Contact with Rusty O'Neill to send him around, and well, still plenty of drama here in this field, but the start belongs to Tanner Pettit there, keeping second place clean from Kelly Carmen, and now Carmen's probably going to switch down low and try and get by him again. It's all on further back as well. Indeed, Lachlan Mead, Brock Thompson and Rusty O'Neill, they've all come around, and looks like Dan Grimshaw and Lachlan Mead might have been around there as well. Oh, we're only getting these short bursts of racing at the moment. We're not even at the halfway point of race distance.
No, unfortunately. And I think we might have already lost Rusty O'Neill. I think his night, he just burned the backup car at the end of that one. I think he was involved in the caution immediately after, and I think the car is done for the day. A few more journeys down to pit lane. We'll get an opportunity to have a look at where this one came from.
Dan Grimshaw, oh dear. So that was contact that sent him even further back into the field, and it didn't look like it was necessarily his fault, at least from the instant of a second that I saw it, but not ideal. Back-to-back cautions, effectively, on board here with Rusty O'Neill, and oh, that was a bit of a scary moment there. Seems like the Americans are not the only ones facing netcode issues tonight.
Yeah, Rusty's J's done. Look at the damage that was on that wheel. So that's it. Over and done with for him. Back to single file restarts now. We are coming up on 40% of the way through this feature. One more lap away from chalking that milestone up.
Here we go then. Green flag flies for the single file restart, and things are a little bit calmer throughout the field, but still seeing the same drivers dipping down low. Hamilton and Chatham are trying to work that low line, and we see Paul Bryan fighting with Tim Ryan for P4, and the cut underneath from the both of them. This is fantastic stuff as the top three are starting to break away. Look at how low they're running there. Gowan's leading the charge for this low line, and they seem to be keeping some reasonable pace up.
Yeah, they are. The lanes are pretty even at the moment. It's not really dominant in either direction. A little bit of momentum coming from the top line. At the moment, it looks like they're starting to make a little bit of momentum. If you nail the line, it might actually be working out. But Forster's now going all the way from the tail end of the heat. Now he's going to shut the nose in 3 wide. He gets given a little bit of room from Matthew Gowan. So he gets a little bit lucky. Now he checks up Paul Bryan, and he moves his way through into, I think it's P6 at the moment. So Forster's gone all the way through to the top 5, and there's still half the feature left to come.
Remember, Forster took the Madhouse Industries Challenge last time at Knoxville. He started from 17th spot and ended up winning. So he's trying to do the same thing here today as the fast repair window is closed. And yes, Tim Ryan in it with Aiden Forster right now for P4, as Carmen, Pettit and Foley are just jetting away from everybody right now.
Well, the big thing was, all of a sudden, Forster got back up there, and Tim Ryan saw it coming. He went, I'm not going to send this slider, because if I do, I'm going to get caught out. Yellow's going to get frozen. I wonder whether or not Forster was ahead. Clayton Davies, no. Well, there goes my fantasy draft. I'm in the hole.
Yeah, I think I was already in the hole before we got to the feature, more or less. Really unfortunate for Davies in particular. This was contact with Casey Hamilton in the red car up ahead, and Hamilton coming down the circuit, I think, to try and set up the low line through 3 and 4, just wasn't aware of Davies coming up on him.
Well, he would have known that Davies was down there, but at the same time, he's trying to cover Davies off and pinch Clayton to the bottom line, right? So he's basically saying, I don't want you to use all the track width that's available to you. I'm the car ahead. I get to dictate and control the line and where that speed is coming from. What he's trying to do is he's trying to take Clayton's ability to respond away from him and check his momentum up. All of this is all about checking momentum. It's about speed and applying. Yes, there's talent. Yes, there is that ability. But when you've got 2 even race cars going at each other, slide all the way up, take a little bit of momentum away from that guy. He's going to respond and find momentum back in another way. And for me, that's just covering that to the... When you've got control of the spot and you want to slam the door shut, you've got to make those sorts of moves.
Yeah, that you do. Jay asking the question in our production chat, has Foley led every lap? I think he might have. Remember, he was only a 2K pick on Speedway Draft tonight, so there's plenty of gains to be made if you've picked him on your roster.
Yeah, well, one of us did. Yeah, actually, two of us did, because Jay did it as well. Yeah, so we assumed he was going to be a solid value pick at 2K. I tell you what, before next time we do this, they're going to have a look through those rankings. I might give all the fans a breakdown at home of who's undervalued. That might be the way to go.
Well, let's see how much value these drivers put on this restart here, and how much value Tim Ryan's putting on that low line is working nicely for the moment, but it looks like Aiden Forster just has even more pace. Look at that. He's gotten by both Tim Ryan and Kelly Carmen just in time for the caution to come out. Carmen got back into third, and that's Clayton Davies again. What on earth happened to the number 10? Fast repair window is closed, so now Davies is out of the running. Remember, Clayton, third place in the championship. He needs to keep those consistent good results going. It will not happen tonight. Just went up into the wall, and oh dear, that was Grimshaw coming up into it.
Yeah, again, once you get put back there and you're behind and in the junk, and this is, again, the difference, right? Because remember, when the 20 car was back there early on, there was a fair few more cars back there. 24 cars when you start off the feature, but you got 50 laps. So you can just pick him away, pick him away, pick him away, pick him away. Well, the problem for Clayton Davies, he's got to get aggressive because the track's going away again rapidly. He's got to pick off as many positions as he possibly can in as quick a time as he possibly can. And again, it just means being aggressive, putting yourself in risky positions, and yeah, just
Green flag flies yet again. And now, in our top four, it's a battle of the teams. Trout Racing are 1 and 3. Tanner Pettit Racing are 2 and 4. And this is certainly a rollicking battle to have as we pass the halfway point of the race now. Looking a bit further back to the racing going on in the midfield, but that's getting underneath there as Aiden Forster on Kelly Carmen, and that's going to be P3 for him. Gavin Chatham trying to hold on to a spot in the top 10 right now with Casey Hamilton, Ayrton Smith behind him, and the battle keeps going for third between Forster and Carmen. Both of them are just setting each other off rhythm here, which is allowing Foley and Pettit to drive away. Here comes Tim Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan's car was a little bit weaker earlier on in terms of this feature, but it looks like as we've gotten into the more roughed up and a track that started to go away, all of a sudden there's some speed coming back to the number 98 machine as he's got to try and find some speed, gets into the barrier, he's got to get that 98 car back out of them, has managed to do so. Paul Bryan, though, is making a world of time at the moment. Have a look at the bottom end of the racetrack, though. There's a couple guys that are down there, but the dark horse, someone we weren't expecting to get out here and utterly throw down tonight, Ethan Foley's led so much of tonight's feature. He's got 14 laps. He just wants to keep ticking them by because right now a ton of speed. One thing he doesn't want to see is a car cartwheeling out of turn 2.
And that car is Lachlan Rogers. Oh dear. Well, we saw him in the pits before under caution, and this time he won't be coming back out. Big shame there for Lachlan. And well, that brings us down to 20 cars that are still circulating out there. We're hearing it was a technical issue for Lachlan Rogers, and it looks like that's correct on my end. He just disappeared off the circuit, and when he reappeared, he was airborne.
So we'll get ourselves back underway here as quickly as we possibly can and get ourselves rolling yet again. Obviously, everyone's just itching to get back up this one. Foley's been smooth and quick, but the big thing is, again, his car seems like it's been quick to this point, but he's also starting to just eke away a little bit further. So some of the opportunity that comes when you're running at the head of the field, you don't have to rag the thing for all the pace that's necessarily got. Sometimes you can just sit back, take it a little bit easier and look after the car. He's done that, and I reckon he's saved just a little bit of tyre compared to these Tanner Pettit racing cars.
Yeah, and preserving tyre is going to be especially important when the track's slicked up like this. Restart is on. We've been going single file for these last few restarts. There's a big move from the 24. He tries to do the slider on Ethan Foley, but Ethan is there to respond. But now he's got Pettit and Forster both chasing him. Kelly Carmen has been dispatched to 4th place, and it doesn't look like he's going to be much of a thorn in the side of the Tanner Pettit racing cars as things stand. There's going to be a little trade between them, or at least an attempt at such. Low line from Forster doesn't quite work out. Ethan Foley, I think he's not really worrying about what's behind him. He's hitting his marks and it's working out.
Yeah, right now he just has to put his best laps together, because even if he doesn't, there's not a huge deal that these guys that are behind him can really do. They've got to send massive moves. They've already shown us what they've potentially got. Now the teammates are going to throw it down at each other as well. Forster from the rear of the field has gone back down to the bottom a couple weeks ago. Showed us that he was capable of doing this at the biggest track, the biggest moment, the biggest opportunity on the season. But this is about points. This is about championship standings for the rest of the guys that are coming their way through. Tim Ryan's been on a lean run of form at the moment, but he will be feeling like he's got a ton of opportunity begging coming his way. Caution's going to come out. We'll have ourselves a restart with 6 laps left on the timing screen.
And it's Casey Hamilton that brought out the caution. Looks like contact with Aston Hurley. Hamilton ran into the back of Hurley coming out of, I think it might be turn 2, where the billboards are, and Henry Fenson just glancing off him on his way through. That's what brought the caution out. Fortunately, Hamilton still able to roll. Hasn't towed back to pit lane, and no damage on the car, at least from what we can see. So, this is going to result in a 6-lap dash to decide the result of this one, and it is between Ethan Foley and Tanner Pettit. How aggressive is Tanner going to be on this restart?
Yeah, well, I mean, he's going to take the opportunity. His best opportunity to get this spot is straight away. So he is certainly going to be trying to use this as early as he possibly can. He's going to get 1 or 2 opportunities to have a crack for this one. Foley's got to drive it extremely well, and the teammates, well, they might find it out, but they might just be a little bit smarter.
Here they come then, to the line. 6 laps to go, and a little bit of momentum lost by Foley there, but he was trying to set up the run down the back stretch. There's the move down to the bottom from Aiden Forster once again. Tanner Pettit with a great run out of turn 3. Here he comes, and he gets the slider, but the response is right there from Foley. He draws back alongside. Big slider again into 3 and 4. Hooks up with the fresh clay. They're briefly 3 wide for the lead, and now Pettit and Forster have both gotten past Foley. Look at that underneath there from Ethan Foley. Brilliant response to Aiden Forster checking up, and now Kelly Carman's been brought back into the fold for the podium.
Now it's going to be up to the battle between these guys. All of a sudden, the man who's dominated just about all night long. 3 laps left to run, and Ethan Foley will have a mountain to climb. He'll be hoping for 1 more yellow, but he knows if he gets it, he's probably going to be looking in the rear view more than he'll be looking forwards. Tanner Pettit has run smooth, he's run calm, he's run second the bulk of the night. He only has to lead the critical laps as we get down here towards 2 to go. The white flag's in the air. Tanner Pettit needed 1 opportunity. He absolutely ran the rims off it when he had the opportunity, and now he is your winner from I-55. Foley will put a reasonable night together, but that was one that just got away from Foley. That was a huge opportunity, and he is going to be annoyed with himself, because I think that's going to be his best opportunity to get the job done on the season.
Yeah, indeed. We're going to a bit of a different variety of tracks for the last few rounds, but our top 3 lining up for their shot there, and I think Ethan Foley should still be very happy with how tonight went for him. Yeah, it all went wrong there off that restart, but he was able to outrace Aiden Forster along with his teammate Kelly Carman and secure second in the end. So there are your results. Pettit taking the win, and he and Aiden Forster continuing their great run at the top of this championship, with Ethan Foley splitting them. Kelly Carman finishing in P4. He'll be very happy with how tonight went down. Solid drive from Tim Ryan to start from P4 and end up P5. He was in the mix all night long, but never quite got up to the point where he was fighting for the win. Paul Bryan, how about him? Great result from 10th spot, with Matthew Gowans finishing in 7th, ahead of Gavin Chatham, Aston Hurley, and Craig Dunn.
Yeah, what a top 10 race for Craig Dunn as well. He's been on a turn of speed lately. All of a sudden, form coming back to that race car. Henry Fenson went for a wild ride early on, but all of a sudden bolted the thing back down and got things done nice and simply. Brock Thompson, Hutchison, Hamilton, both home inside the 15. Nathan Norman on the lead lap, as is our debutant, Rylan Dixon. Baxter Truchet will be the last car home on the lead lap before we get back to Grimshaw and Smith and Lachlan Mead, all laps down. Out now outside the 20, we'll be back to the final for Lachlan Rogers from Clayton Davies. Again, had to fight his way through from the tail end of a lot of stuff tonight from Rusty O'Neill and James Oliver.
Yeah, really tough night for all of those drivers. But now, time to have a chat to our top three. And first driver to come in will, of course, be Tanner Pettit. He joins us now, and well, big welcome and a big congratulations, Tanner. It was a tough one, hard fighting with Ethan Foley. It looked like the Trout Racing cars were very well prepared for this feature.
Yeah, no doubt. Felt like the first couple cars there weren't too bad to get by, and but once I got behind Ethan, I didn't really have too much for him. Luckily, we got a couple restarts there, and I knew that would be where I needed my shot. I actually didn't take off that well on that last restart. I just railed the top 3 and 4 really well, which gave me a good run going into 1, and luckily I was able to pull off the slider and get away there.
Indeed. Coming off that final restart, were there any changes you were making to the car itself to prepare for that? Because I mean, the track is usually at its worst at the very end of a feature like this, especially one like I-55 where it wears out so quickly.
Yeah, sometimes I'll pull the wing back a little bit just on a slider or something like that, just to get the car more grabbed through the center of the corner to get up across the racetrack. But other than that, it's really just a hope and a prayer that you get a good enough run off the corner. Just with how fast the top is, you really need a great run to get in and clear the guy. So luckily, I think Ethan made a little bit of a mistake there in 3 and 4, and I just hit it perfect, which gave me a great opportunity.
Well, that's more maximum points in the bag for you. Continuing your run at the top of the championship. We'll be catching you in a very short amount of time, Tanner. Anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Jimmy P. Mac Tools, 1425 Photography, CD Cinematography. I'd like to thank Sim Market, everybody on my team, anybody who supports my website and setups and all that. Do it. We do this all on exactly what I'm selling on my website, and it's been super impressive lately seeing everybody get the wins that they're getting. So I'd also like to thank you guys for putting on the broadcast and Brady for putting on the league.
Brilliant stuff from Tanner Pettit here today. In second spot, it was Ethan Foley. Scott Rankins caught up with the man from Trout Racing.
Ethan, that is just about the best thing you've put together this season. You just about had it. Mate, we were just saying up here, you were just locked in, turning your best laps for the longest period you could possibly put them together for, and then all of a sudden, a couple cautions laid on. But how good is this number 14 driving at the moment? When you run clean, you're up here and you're at the pointy end. The season is just starting to turn and come your way.
Yeah, most definitely. I say Fairbury would probably be one of the best until this race, but yeah, the setup felt good. The track was amazing, top dominant. Cushion held a little bit in 3 and 4, which I was a bit surprised about. Then when Tanner passed me, it kind of surprised me a little bit, and I was just, I put my foot down a little bit too hard.
Mate, one mistake, unfortunately, defines the night and the difference between P2 and P1. But look, there's only 5 rounds left of this championship now left to run. Is there anything that jumps out at you and you're all of a sudden like, I just wanted a shorter racetrack. I want an opportunity for a little bit more banking. I want a little bit of an opportunity for something. Is there something left in this car 14 that can staple a win on before the end of the championship? Because tonight I was sitting there, I was begging for it, I was hoping for it. It just wasn't to be.
Yeah, I feel like there could be a win coming in these next ending rounds. We'll see how it goes. I know Lincoln might be all right for me, as I've saw in Pro Series last year with Tanner in the Constellation race. But other than that, I think we do have a little bit of juice left in the tank to get a win, so we'll see how we go.
Finally, mate, how's everything going over at Trout Racing Team? Obviously, everything's come together pretty late on in terms of this championship, but look, you and the boys, all of a sudden, it's just locked in, and maybe it's a bit of a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, I think it is a blessing in disguise, to be honest. We started the team hoping to be one of the best in Australia, and I think we're on the right track to do that. To do that at the moment, and Pro Series coming up maybe in the next 6-7 months. Hopefully, we can work from there. Everyone can make Pro Series, and we can maybe put our name out there a little bit more.
Finally, car number 14 gets it done for P2 tonight. Ethan Foley and Trout Racing Team would like to thank.
I'd just like to thank Mach 1, PHR, Anthony Villagram, Smith TI, all you boys for putting this on, for putting the stream on, Brady for putting the league on, and just all the races here. We can't do it without them.
Mate, congratulations on P2 tonight. You had us all sitting here going, we hope you can get it done. And unfortunately, one little mistake, that's all racing takes sometimes.
Yeah, most definitely. Thank you.
Congratulations, brother. Enjoy. We'll see you next time out. Ladies and gentlemen, at place number 3 here tonight, finally race is sat by with the car number 20 coming from the rear of the field, Aiden Forster.
Welcome, Aiden. Congratulations. I mean, you obviously still had some juice left from Knoxville, and you employed some of that tonight.
Yeah, we definitely had a really good car once again. Thank you to Tanner. And yeah, we haven't been on the Sims since Knoxville, so kind of just threw up some laps before this. And man, the car was really good, like I said. Tanner puts in a lot of work and has us dialed, and we had a really good run there. We didn't pass just 20 cars in the feature. We passed however many in the CMB. So we passed everybody basically in the lobby except 2. So still a good night. We'll still take good points, and yeah, we're happy with it.
As you should be. It looked like you were a big fan of that low line later on, but I mean, I'm seeing it on the prod feed right now, just how much that slick extended down the racetrack. It must have been difficult to find that momentum in the dying laps.
Yeah, it definitely was. I was just trying to find anywhere else I could run besides the top compared to those guys, because you're not going to beat them running the same exact line. And I felt like we're good enough to where like I could try things and wouldn't really get ate up too much. So we were making moves there, and it just didn't work out. I was trying to slide there with Tanner, and we did, and me and Ethan made a little bit of contact, which is just racing deal, and that was kind of the end of our run at a win there. But congrats to Tanner. He had a really good race. He was just stayed patient and got the win there. So congrats to him, and we'll take a P3 and move on.
Absolutely, you will. Lincoln Speedway playing host to the next round of the championship. You have any thoughts on that venue before we hop to it?
Lincoln is definitely my favorite track and probably my best one. So we're looking forward to that one, and we'll be back and hopefully we can get us another win.
Excellent stuff. Well, congratulations, Aiden. We appreciate you jumping in. Anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, first of all, I got to thank Tanner for all the work he does at TPR, Jimmy P. Mac Tools, 1425 Photography, Aces Up Sim Sport, C Cinematography, Trackside Collective, Blake Carrick Racing, Ethan Johnson, Simrap Market, everybody that supports us, and you guys for putting on the broadcast.
Congratulations once again to our third place getter, Aiden Forster, as we'll find our way to the conclusion of the show. Well, we've got the Speedway draft points that apparently are ready to go. So this was it beforehand.
I'm just having a quick look on the website because the website's actually already been updated, and I have a very, very critical adjustment to the championship. Oh no, never mind, it doesn't. Sorry, my apologies. My apologies. I thought there was a change for position. It's just gotten exceptionally close. You had, I think it was 800 points on me coming into this round race. Your margin has been cut. But the worst part is there was 2 guys way on down in the field. Simpson Racing put together a 2,646 point round, which is, I think, the most points we have seen scored by anyone this season. P2 was Reboot Racing with 2,603. So not only did we see the highest points tally of the season, there were 2 teams that picked that highest points tallies of the season, beating any other round we've seen so far. P3 was 2,549 from Hayden Vickers. So even though his night didn't actually go all that well, at least he finished off 3rd in the Speedway draft overall. So I think just having a quick glance through the points, the previous best was by series admin Brady Baldwin with 2,522, which came at the Port Royal round in week number 8. Every other round has not been up to that standard. So the top 3 picks in terms of teams this season for week points came tonight. How about that? There you go. There's a little stat to end the night on.
Yeah, indeed. I've fallen to 3rd overall with that result, so I'll have to maybe change my tack again for next time. And also worth pointing out, I mean, the numbers are there. Jay got the best score out of all of us in the booth here today, so congratulations, Jay. Don't rest on your laurels, though. Scotty and I are coming back.
Jay's actually had a couple of strong weeks, so look, here's to him. He needs every little bit of support he can get. At the moment, Chase PC's been dying. It held together, though, tonight, so we're actually really, really happy for this one. But how about this, Reese? This is the next month worth of racing action in terms of your Wednesday night. But it's just not just your Wednesday nights. Wednesday nights coming up, Red Bull Ring Porsche Cup action next time out. The week after, Lincoln Speedway. One more Porsche round on the Wednesday night. Then it's the biggest week of the year that starts with the Mount Panorama Moser Porsche Pro Invitational round on August the 12th. Then it's into Friday night coverage on that week, which I believe will be our co-driver clash. Then we're into Saturday, which will be qualifying. Then the Sunday. But before we get there, we got to run through all of these.
Yeah, we certainly do. That is the schedule for the weekend of August the 16th, starting, of course, with that Wednesday Porsche action, but then the co-driver clash, qualifying, support racing, the top 15 shootout. That is always a highlight of every Sim Bathurst 1000 I've been a part of. Don't forget as well, broadcast start time is at Australian Eastern, and the start times will differ depending on where you are in the country. So mark those dates in your calendar, add or subtract the hours for your part of the world if you need to, and get ready for a fantastic August in the Australian Sim Racing Group supported series. But of course, next round being Lincoln Speedway for this championship in 2 weeks' time. It's going to be an incredible one. Always love going to Lincoln Speedway as well. It's just a stellar schedule, a stellar championship, and stellar performances from all of our top three here today in the ASRG Sprintcar Pro Invitational Series. We'll be seeing you at Lincoln in 2 weeks' time. Big thanks to Lucid Graphix for sponsoring this particular round, and all the other partners, sponsors, and supporters thanked throughout the night. A brilliant roster of support that we have for this series. My name is Reese Gardner, Scott Rankin alongside me, and Jay Kennedy in the producer's chair here on SimSpeed TV. We'll see you next time.